Why could I treat other people better than I could treat myself? I could fight for anybody who worked for me. I could gladiate for anybody at work. I could treat anybody else wonderfully. But when it came to myself, I let people treat me like crap, and I treated myself that way. And it felt like I respected myself far less than I respected everybody else. And so I just tried to respect myself. The more you say yes, and the more you realize that you're succeeding and that you're overcoming something, the better you feel, the more powerful you feel, the more successful you feel, and the better you feel about yourself, honestly. When I conquered being afraid of public speaking, I started to feel like, oh, I'm good at that. Okay, well, it works. You start to feel like you're in control. I really only feel like I started truly learning how to be a leader partially when this process started, when I got braver about it. I think it's a willingness to really delve into this stuff, to have the difficult conversations. Really being willing to have those conversations that nobody wants to have, that we spend all of our time avoiding. Sitting down with the people you work with and saying, here's the deal, or what's going on, or all of those things that we spend all of our time avoiding, just jumping right in. And those things solve problems, those things make life so much easier, those things cross bridges in ways that you never thought would happen. That for me has been the single greatest thing that has changed the way I work with everybody, because now everyone feels like, A, I'm gonna tell them the truth, and B, they can tell me anything. I thought a lot about what I would say tonight, and to do that, I thought a lot about why I might be standing here. a very, very young woman in my mid-40s, very early in my career as a writer, being inducted into the Television Academy Hall of Fame. And I know that I am amazing and I am a goddess and I look exactly like Beyonce, blah, blah, blah. But none of that is why. It comes down to one thing, one reason why I'm standing here, and it connects to the question that I'm constantly asked by reporters in every interview, which bugs the crap out of me because I hate the question. It's the worst. I am endlessly asked the diversity question in every interview. Why is diversity so important? And we all know why I'm the one who's asked. It's the adjectives. You put an adjective in front of the word writer, female writer, black writer, and suddenly all anyone asks about, all you are allowed to talk about is the adjective and not the writer part. And I love to talk about writing. I love to talk about my work, and I love my job. I mean, I imagine for a living, but 9 times out of 10 they ask about the adjectives, the black and the female, and not the writer. 9 times out of 10 they ask the question, why is diversity so important? The diversity question, here it goes. My father has always said to me, the only limits to your success are your own imagination. And growing up, I was chubby in all the wrong places with Coke bottle thick glasses and 2 cornrow braids down the sides of my head, and I was the youngest of 6 kids. But I had all of these dreams and ideas of what I would be. I had a lot of dreams and a lot of ideas. I had fancies, I had doodles in the brain. I had and still have an extraordinary imagination. There were worlds inside there, nations and lands, Shondalands. The only limit to my success was my own imagination. My father saying that was a gift because I really believed growing up I could be whatever I imagined. And it's only now as a parent do I look back to see how hard my parents must have worked to make that belief possible for me in the 1970s. The Civil Rights Act wasn't even a decade old when I was born. I mean, my mom was like some sort of superhero gladiator advance team for my life, single-handedly removing the soul-crushing boulders of sexism and racism from my path, paving the way so that by the time I skipped happily along with my big ideas and piles of writing, the road was smooth and easy. They tell stories of my mother in my hometown. She is legend, but I was blissfully unaware. The only limit to your success is your own imagination, but still, you have to be able to imagine it. One day I turned on the TV and saw something it had never occurred to me to imagine. I saw this woman on TV, and she was smart and funny and emotionally honest, and she seemed unapologetically herself. She was in charge, comfortable, powerful, smart, real. It was her show, and she looked like me. She was a black woman on television, and then she was a black woman taking over the world through television. She was Oprah. Oprah Winfrey changed my imagination. She changed what I found to be imaginable. Any limits to my success suddenly seemed, something clicked, and my imagination had no limits. The world got wider. And it wasn't overnight, and it wasn't just Oprah, but Oprah was my first and most powerful example on TV of someone who looked like me. There was also Claire Huxtable in prime time and Whoopi Goldberg live on Broadway. But I want you to hear me when I say this, because I'm betting some of you have an image in your mind of what a black childhood looked like, so this feels typical to you. But I was a middle-class kid from the suburbs with a private school education and nerdy intellectuals for parents. I grew up sheltered from the ugliness of any realities having to do with poverty and real racism. I played the oboe, I was a brownie, and I'd still never seen anyone on TV who looked like me on the outside and looked like me on the inside. It had never occurred to me that television could be where my imagination would be most at home. If you can't even imagine something, how can you reach for it? You cannot see what you cannot be. And it wasn't that I wanted to be Oprah, but it was that I now knew there was a door somewhere inside that television screen, and that it was absolutely possible to either knock on it or kick it down to get inside. I knew that that world, this world, could include me. I spent a lot of time, and a lot of people spend a lot of time thinking of all the things they want to do and talking about it. But the idea that you're not actually doing anything to get to where you want to go, you're waiting for some sort of big magical moment or some door to open or some, I don't know, some interesting, illuminating thing to happen, is very different from the hard day-to-day slogging through step by step. I'm going to climb this ladder. Here's an opportunity. I'm going to run for it. Any little small moment. Oh, they want me, I want to be a writer. Somebody wants me to be an intern at their production company. I will go do that. Somebody wants me to go, work at this job. I will do that. Oh, I'm going to go work at this sort of awful job because it's going to pay the bills so I can write at night. Well, I'm going to do that because that's a way to get where I want to go. People don't want to do those things because they think that they're waiting for the big break. And I think that hard work and being a doer and taking every opportunity that comes your way, whether or not it seems like the most amazing one, is the way to go. Own who you are and what you've done. Be proud of it.